My name is Gert Spaargaren. I'm a professor at the Environmental Policy Group of Wageningen University. And I participated in this conference in the final closing session, where there was a panel that was reflecting on the results of this conference. And I shared with the conference members a few things that were kind of striking to me when being here for 2 days. And the first thing was that it was a very good conference that made people enthusiastic, that gave the feeling that we had something tangible, so the transparency topic, something that you can do research with and that you can reflect upon, that relates to actually many of the work that people here are doing. So it unites people on a very focused debate on the role of data and information and what they can do in environmental governance. So that's the main theme of the conference. And well, I had a few lessons that I learned. The first lesson was that data do not speak by themselves. You can make them look very sexy. So nowadays there are a lot of technologies to visualize data in a way that you try to seduce policymakers and citizens to do something with it. But these data never kind of have an effect on their own. So you need to look at the way people develop data, use data in a kind of specific setting. And only by looking at how data are used, you can just clarify a little bit the political role that they have in environmental governance. So when you look at the specific context in which data are used and that influence the uses of the data, we discovered that there were 3 major contexts. One is the market. So that means you talk about global value chains and issues of labeling and certification of products and processes and how companies and citizens respond to that. So that's one, let's say, setting or context. The second one is, of course, the well-known climate governance debate. So the Paris agreements and talks and how kind of climate change is discussed there. So policymakers have to be kind of accountable, and they have to be transparent. They have to set up all kind of MRV systems. That means that's monitoring and so even controlling what is happening inside political systems. And I think here we talk about democracy and transparency and citizenship and all these kind of related issues. Then we have the third context, and that's, I think, the most exciting one for me, and that's the civil society context. So how do NGOs and ordinary people like you and me and citizens, households, how are they kind of, well, let's say bombarded by information nowadays? How are people trying to throw data at them and to invite them to change their household behavior or to come in action and to become a political active citizen? And I think this sensitizing citizens with data, I think it's a very exciting field of research where we had a lot of examples being discussed in this conference. On the critical side, what I learned in the conference is that we have a lot of empirical work going on, but that the theoretical embeddedness of this empirical work is not that as good as it could have been. So we are now thinking about ways to also elaborate a little bit the theorizing of transparency from both a sociological and a political science perspective.